A beautiful Tuesday night from Truist Park. Game 1 of 3 between the Atlanta Braves and the St. Louis Cardinals. And getting the ball tonight for Atlanta, Martin Perez. He has been one of the stories of the season. Let's take a look at our John Foy, the strong arm. These are his ranks at home among left-handed pitchers. You see just 1 homer allowed, and that came way back in April. So over 27 consecutive innings here at Truist Park without allowing a home run. And the key for Martin all year has been the way he has pitched on the perimeter of the strike zone. That changeup in particular has been effective. Hitters are just 5 for 45 against his off-speed pitch here at home at Truist Park. And for Martin, he's been a key member of the rotation, one that's been hit hard by injuries as we've documented, and hopefully he can give Atlanta yet another strong start here at home. In fact, for the first 5 he's had at this park, he's allowed 1 run or less in at least 5 innings. So Martin Perez is on the mound. Braves take the field when we come back. Game 1 of 3 between the Bravos and the Redbirds, and it's coming up next on Braves Vision. You're watching the Atlanta Braves on Braves Vision. A summer night in Braves country. 2 storied franchises. 1 game closer to October. The second half of the season is just beginning. And that baby is gone. Tonight, Martin Perez takes the mound. A called strike on the inside corner as Atlanta opens a series against the St. Louis Cardinals.
Swing and a miss. Libby heats him up.
A club built on tradition. A proud franchise. But the Braves have answers of their own. And he hits it out of here. It's everything baseball was meant to be. Cardinals, Braves, next. First matchup this year between the St. Louis Cardinals and the Atlanta Braves here from Truist Park in Atlanta, Georgia on this Tuesday night. The Cardinals coming in 5 games over at 43-38. The Atlanta Braves reeling a little bit here in the month of June, but still 3.5 games up on the Phillies at 49-33 overall. The lineup for Racetrack, you get a look at Jordan Walker. They're hitting third. He's from Stone Mountain. He'll have a bunch of friends and family here tonight and over the next couple of days as well. And St. Louis is a team that's middle of the pack offensively. We'll talk more about that as we get the ball rolling here this evening. But it's a bit of a surprise. It's a young roster for St. Louis. But to be 5 games over right now, I don't think many people expected that.
100% no. They've probably been the biggest surprise in baseball so far now. Not sure they're necessarily a postseason team. By the end of April, they were 5 over. They have been 500 through May. They have been 500 through June. So they've held, I think, better than people have expected. There are some good young players here. There are some other guys that are having better years maybe than anticipated. And so the St. Louis Cardinals right now under new leadership, things moving in the right direction.
Leading the Braves out there for tonight's ball game on the final day of June is the southpaw, the veteran Martin Perez.
You heard Wiley talking about it, but Martin Perez has been very, very good in this ballpark. He's also been good against the St. Louis Cardinals in his career. 5 starts, 2-0 with a 1.93 ERA. Now you see that opponent's batting average? That's for both lefties and righties. So at least for one night, Martin Perez is even Steven.
Let's see the Ford keys that CJ has for us tonight.
A little home cooking for Martin. We mentioned how good he has been here with that 1.64 ERA at Truist. And we're going to go on a fantastic voyage tonight. We need to. Slide, glide, slippity slide. What am I talking about? You're going to have to hit the slider against the starting pitcher for the St. Louis Cardinals in Matthew Liberatore. That's kind of his go-to pitch. But the Braves have been excellent against the left-handed slider. Rest in peace, Coolio.
That was good, by the way. CJ's ready back home.
Yeah.
Good night's sleep. Racetrack defense, Dubon, Harris, and Eli White patrolling the outfield. Mateo is back at short after Kim got the run there in the last series against the Giants. And Joey Bart will be the battery for Martin Perez.
And I'd say this, don't get too excited. I just had a bite of that cookie cake back there, whatever that was. I might be out in about 2 innings. We'll see. So I got the rush
the
right
sugar
now.
Rush.
Yeah.
Well, that's why you got your caffeine stuff, your coffee, your gum. You got it all.
Once you see my eyes getting heavy, man, just poke me with your pen.
There's Ollie Marmol. 39-year-old skipper. He will turn 40 on Thursday, and 5th year now piloting the St. Louis Cardinals. "90 degrees and humid, but guess what? It's Atlanta, it's summer, it's baseball weather." Perez is ready, and the final game in the month of June is underway here from Truist Park.
And again, as bad as a month that it's been for the Braves at home, they've still been pretty good. 7-4 at home this month. It's really been about the road with that 2-9 record.
And that last road trip, just 1-5 against the Padres, and then 3 in San Francisco. But the day off yesterday to reset, and now begin this homestand. Home plate umpire tonight is Roberto Ortiz.
Lower ranking among the umpires, 71st out of the 86 when it comes to his correct call percentage. Like everybody else, seems to be a little bit wide at the bottom and the top.
That is a theme this year.
I need to go back and look now at basically heat maps, all umpires. I'm not sure I can get it together, kind of year over year, last year to this year, and I think that's what I've been noticing at least every time we bring up a heat map for an umpire, that because of ABS, they have been a little bit more aggressive at the top and the bottom.
This leadoff man, J.J. Weatherholt, is a 23-year-old rookie and a good one. They think he's got a very bright future.
The good news for Martin, and it hasn't been very many, but he does not have a hit off a left-handed changeup, but he probably doesn't see too many of them.
He gets a 2-seamer there, and he grounds out to Ozzie Albies. But you will notice a theme. I mentioned Weatherholt is a rookie up and down the lineup, and a lot of their pitchers are young. In fact, the Cardinals have the youngest roster in baseball. The Braves, because of some of the older players, actually have the oldest roster in Major League Baseball at the moment.
And don't get too worked up about that. I know there was some topic of conversation early on about the Braves having that older roster, but you really start to look at a lot of these guys, and especially offensively, the ones that you're banking on the biggest are all kind of in their primes, right? It's not as if you're dealing with these kind of cumbersome contracts that are getting in the way of older players. So I think it's the pitchers that are kind of pulling that number up a little bit, and that's okay.
Catcher Ivan Herrera fouls it, and Matt Olson has just enough space. Let's take a look at Perez's arsenal here. StatCast 3D.
And we know for the most part with Martin, he relies so heavily on the changeup and the sinker to cutter. Those three in particular. See the curveball and the four-seamer once in a while. And as Wiley also talked about, just living around the edges right there is what is so important for Martin. He's been great at it this season.
And he's facing a guy who has been great this season, Jordan Walker from Stone Mountain, went to Decatur High School. He's played back here before as a Cardinal, but he was struggling early on in his big league career, but he has found his groove this season.
He certainly has. The slug is there. He's already set a career high in home runs with the 18 that he has. You can see that great batting average. All of those numbers were significantly lower, especially after that rookie year. The rookie year was respectable. He hit 16 homers, had nearly an 800 OPS, but he has really had slowed down and now has made some big time corrections. And a big part of it is getting the ball in the air a little bit more and hitting it with authority.
Yeah, when he hits it, it can go, and it can go quickly off that bat. He is a strong 6'6", 250-pound 24-year-old. Three and two.
And 320 against lefties. You can see the overall 290 there for Jordan Walker. The only pitch that he has really struggled against with left-handed pitching has been the curveball. Everything else he has hit pretty hard.
Yeah, Perez went to the cutter but missed outside. So a 2-out walk.
Martin, I think, being a little bit extra careful here because of how good Walker has been. against left-handed pitching. He was trying to get a backdoor freeze, but was not going to take that chance of missing over the middle.
Nelson Velasquez is the batter hitting cleanup here. They called him up the end of May. He's a power bat. Usually comes off the bench, but will get the starting nod on nights like tonight with a lefty on the mound. Hits it hard. Mateo cannot get there. And a solid single. 2 on with 2 out.
On a bad pitch here from Martin. It's going to be that 2-seam fastball. Looks like it went off the end of the bat, and it did, but for Velasquez, enough to get himself that base hit. You see some movement as well. Kind of hooked that ball away from Jorge Mateo, just out of his reach.
So the Cards trying to put together a 2-out rally. Here's Jose Fermin. Ozzie gets over there to take it. That came so awkward off the bat, but the play is made, and the Bravos are coming up. Let's see if this Braves offense can heat things back up here at home. The lineup brought to you by Racetrack. So Baldwin going to lead off, and Ozzie and Matt Olson will be the first 3 for the Bravos here tonight. And a pair of lefties going. We've talked about Martin Perez. And for the St. Louis Cardinals, a 26-year-old Matthew Liberatore.
Been some struggles here as of late. There have been struggles on the road. Everything kind of adding up for the Braves to be able to have a big night against this left-hander whose fastball sits at 95, so it's got some life to it.
But you were saying that fastball has struggled this year.
Yeah, 859 OPS against the 4-seamer, over 1,100 on his 2-seamer. His slider has been his best pitch. His curveball has been pretty good for him as well. So both of those breaking balls, and we'll see if he uses those a little bit more to these lefties that are at the top of the lineup for the Braves. Half of his strikeouts have come on his slider this year.
He threw that slider right there to get Baldwin to 1-1. Baldwin hits it high into the air, shallow left. And it's caught by Newbar. Cardinals Racetrack defense. Newbar, Church, and Walker. Solid defense overall, and CJ pretty solid up the middle with Wynn and Weatherholt.
Yeah, Weatherholt has been fantastic. I know it's early. We got to be a little careful with some of the defensive metrics, but he has been a plus 15 already over at second base. That is a big, big number.
Speaking of second baseman, here's Ozzie Albies.
And the other part of that defense that we showed you here tonight, we'll keep an eye on it throughout the series. All really good arms left to right. Guys that are in the upper 90s, and for Jordan Walker at times up over 100 miles an hour from the outfield.
A 1-1 4-seam fastball. Who's going to get there? Well, for a second, I didn't know if anybody was. Weatherholt had to go a long way.
Your preference is always going to be your right fielder if he can get there in time. There was a long way to go, and what was nearly full speed there for J.J. Weatherholt to come in and make that catch. Very nicely done.
That's good weather for a snow cone. He had half of one there.
And you definitely don't want any contact with Walker either out there in right field.
That is a big man. Another big man at the plate here, Matt Olson. It's been parts of 5 seasons at the big league level for Liberatore, all with the Cardinals. But as CJ mentioned, he has had his struggles, especially this month. But he's working on a 1-2-3 first inning right now.
His last 4, 0-2 with an ERA over 10. 7 home runs allowed in 15 2/3 innings.
Yeah, there you go. And you would think with the weather heating up, the balls could be jumping tonight.
Not ideal when you're struggling. But the lefties will get that right there. That slider left on left, 43% usage, extremely high. And then it's the four-seam fastball after that.
There's going to be a challenge from Herrera.
Previous pitch was called a ball. Catcher is challenging.
This one is right on the line.
Like it's going to be like a smidgen of the ball, where we've seen quite a few of those this year, unfortunately.
Yep.
Oh, it's overturned. San Luis have to challenge for minor.
All right, so a 1-2-3 first for Liberatore. Top of the second, no score. Let's go down to Wiley Ballard for our Kia Field Report.
Well, Brandon, Martin Perez is without a doubt pitching with a heavy heart tonight. Of course, he is from Venezuela. In fact, his last start came just hours after those devastating earthquakes hit his home country. And for the Braves, they have stepped into action with the help of people like Eddie Perez, Martin Perez, Ronald Acuna Jr. The Braves have initiated some relief efforts, and you're looking at a painting of Ronald Acuna Jr. by John Hill that he has signed and is now available to be bid on, with all the proceeds going to Venezuelan relief. So again, you can visit braves.com/relief to donate. And again, these are in response to the devastating earthquakes in Venezuela. The Braves Foundation will match fan donations dollar for dollar up to $25,000 through Sunday, July 12th.
That's a great thing the Braves are doing. A lot of teams around baseball are doing it as well. The fatalities are almost to 2,000. They expect them to climb. 10,000 injuries, just very devastating. And we talked about it when we were out west. But for these guys like Martin Perez, Eddie Perez, all these guys, after those earthquakes happened, they were checking in with their family, with their friends. Is everybody okay? And thankfully, the families, the immediate families of all the Braves players and coaches are okay. But they know a lot of people that have been impacted.
And it's a helpless feeling, right, when you're this far away from home and knowing that communication is going to be an issue in those moments. And so we're certainly glad for everybody here, but we know that there's a lot going on. There are a lot of heavy hearts obviously dealing with Venezuela, and very much so in the baseball community.
Perez going to try to bear down here in the second. He's got Mason Wynn, the shortstop, with a 3-2 count. A chance for Riley, and a clean throw across. Left fielder Lars Nootbaar missed the first couple of months this season, had surgery on both of his heels. Had something that I had never heard of called Haglund's deformity, where there's a bone growth on back of your heels, very painful over time, but he is feeling much better since returning. And the first pitch he sees, he pops out to Harris, 2 down.
So far here early on with Martin Perez, and it could work to his favor. The two-seam fastball velocity is down a couple miles an hour. Usually sits around 89. We've seen a lot of 87s, but as we talk about with guys that use that two-seam fastball, the sinker, you never want them feeling too strong. And he's throwing it well, and there's good movement on it, and he's got some of these guys out front against it. There's another one there at 87.
So that doesn't alarm you at all?
No, I think, listen, when it's a guy who's relying on the four-seam fastball, and even 2 miles an hour is not a huge deal, but when they rely on that and trying to get it by hitters, yeah, then you maybe get a little bit more concerned. When he comes back and he throws a cutter at 87, which is a mile higher than his average cutter velocity, you're confident he's fine.
1-1 count here to Blaze Jordan, rookie, 15th game. And there's a strike at the knees. Blaze Jordan, same high school as Austin Riley. They never overlapped, but both of them very successful careers there at DeSoto Central in South Haven, Mississippi. And how about that? He hits it to Austin Riley, but it goes foul. And Riley says they know each other. The families know each other. South Haven is a small town about 20 miles across the border from Memphis. And Austin actually played with Blaze's older brother Parker, and they won a state title at DeSoto High School. He's going to roll it this time but to Mateo, and it's a 1-2-3 second inning for Martin Perez. Okay, you want to talk about Braves royalty here, 4 in a row. And the first row, Braves president Derek Schiller, some guy named Chipper Jones, Brian Snitker, and Andrew Jones sitting back to back to back to back.
It's a lot of Hall of Fame talent right there, and it's always good to see Benjamin Button back at the ballpark because Snit just continues to get younger. And now you know, not that you didn't know, but that is your kind of reminder and your confirmation that managing does age you. It is very stressful. And Snit is just looking full of life and happy as could be.
He's glowing. And my favorite of the Braves royalty, Ronnie Snitker. Of course, next to Brian Snitker there.
Sleeping great every night.
Yeah, I know.
Waking up feeling better than he has in a long time.
And his tan is more even than when he had to wear that baseball cap every night. The tan is now perfect for Snit. Harris hitting cleanup here.
Meanwhile, Walt's over there wearing it now, and he's like, oh, yeah, I forgot about this part and how much this game can age you.
There's the Braves first base runner, 4-pitch walk.
You know, guys, I had a chance to catch up with Snit before the game today, and he told me the grandkids are doing well. They made their baseball travel team they wanted to try out and make, so that's taken care of. And he says the best news is they don't have another game until September. So he doesn't have to go any more games in this weather outside of hanging out with the Truist Club.
Well, he certainly deserves it.
That is for sure. All right, Mauricio Dubon's 7-game hit streak. He is our Georgia Natural Gas Greener Life Impact Player here tonight.
Good numbers during this hit streak for Mauricio Dubon. We'd like seeing that even 1,000 OPS, but how about it goes up a couple of points right now?
Yeah, he has been pretty consistent even as the offense has dipped here as of late. And he leads the Braves with 5 home runs in the month of June. Liberatore, very quick 11-pitch first inning, but now he's having trouble finding the strike zone.
And for everything that has gone wrong for him this year, the walk rate has not been a problem. He's sitting right around league average.
Threatening to walk back-to-back hitters. And he does. Nowhere near with that slider.
He's only got 3 walks over his last 3 starts. Again, there have been some struggles in there, a lot of runs allowed, 17 of them over those 3 starts, but he wasn't beating himself with walks.
So nobody out, 2 on. Here's Eli White, batting 6th tonight. Corner infielders creeping in, but Eli not showing bunt. And probably a good time for Herrera to go out there.
It's not a bad idea, I think, of not bunting here, even though Eli would just be a good time. You got Austin Riley on deck facing a lefty, but you have a guy who's having a hard time throwing strikes. You almost don't want to let him off the hook and give him an out, and that can change that momentum a little bit for a pitcher who was searching for it. So not to say that they won't bunt in this situation, but I'm on board with letting it play out right now. Eli's in there to face the lefty. It's early in the game. We know the Braves have faced a lot of left-handed starters, 37th time tonight, most in baseball, and most by any team through 82 games.
Yeah, numbers you like for our Toyota Trends feature. And Liberatore is trending in the wrong direction. Eleven pitches this inning, 10 balls. There's another ball.
starts to take on a life of its own if you're not careful. The mental part of this for Liberatore.
Well, he got the strike zone, but barely. He's missing up. And 3-2 back in that same spot.
And that's what kind of you're hoping there, right? Is that he put 2 at the very top. He does not want to take the chance of walking Eli White and walking 3 in this inning. And so you're going to play a little bit more conservative and throw to the big part of the zone, which he did. And unfortunately, Eli fouled it back.
Another payoff pitch from the lefty. Bouncer, foul.
He actually got the slider, and we told you the slider is kind of the go-to when Liberatore is looking for a strikeout, but that one fouled by a couple of feet.
Pitch number 8 of the at-bat coming up. You can tell Liberatore is working up a good lather. And he does strike him out with the slider.
The frustration for Eli immediate after this swing as he realizes this slider was outside the strike zone. It's a good one. It's got really good depth to it. It had some late bite, and Eli went after it.
Curveball in there to Austin Riley. We see a lot of days like this in Atlanta from now through August, CJ, so I'm not acting like this heat is anything new, but as a pitcher, when it's this humid, what is this like?
I hated it personally, right? Because your uniform starts to feel heavy, right? You're sweating quite a bit. The longer innings can be really cumbersome. You got to worry about grip for some guys if you are a sweater. Sweating a lot, and that's where when you see the 2 bags that are back there and the rosin can come into play. Not everybody likes them and likes using rosin, but this is kind of a rosin type of game if your hand is filling up with sweat.
You can tell back of his head has been soaked with sweat since he went out there last inning. Changeup nowhere near the plate. 3-1. It's now 14 balls and just 7 strikes here in the second for Liberatore.
It's a good take, and that's absolute paint with that slider backdoor. I'm not sure he was really aiming for that small of a part of the strike zone, but it ended up being a really good pitch.
Riley got one to hit, but he fouls it away. Three-two again. And a strikeout. So Liberatore, despite his struggles here, is able to get back-to-back Ks, and now there are 2 down.
And this is a little bit of a different looking slider compared to the one that Eli White got, right? It's upper third. It's a little bit more horizontal. It is smaller, and it was tighter to Austin Riley.
Well, let's see if Joey Bart can produce something here. His 5th start as an Atlanta Brave. This
humidity is old hat for Joey Bart. This is what he grew up in. I'll assume he loves it even as a catcher.
So Liberatore this time getting ahead. No balls and 2 strikes.
There he goes to the rosin bag now.
And Liberatore grew up in Phoenix, so he knows about heat, but as they say, it's a dry heat out there. Bart ahead of it and fouls it toward the dugout.
And he has been pitching for the Cardinals for a long time, and it certainly gets swampy there as well. I'm not sure we've ever seen that in an inning where a foul ball ends up in the infield, where both the home bat boy and the road bat boy had to run all the way into the infield to get the baseball. They had to go far.
And they're ricocheting off the dugouts, the netting. And a called strike. What a strange inning. 2 walks and then 3 straight strikeouts for Liberatore. Braves Country Baseball and Softball All-Star Championships took place this past weekend here in Atlanta. Teams from 6 states. Also, the 5th annual Native American Showcase was at Truist Park, featuring the top 50 high school players of Native American descent. So it was a great weekend of growing the game here in Braves Country. And for a full report, check out the Braves Vision social media channel.
And check out those rings those kids took home. That's a nice little piece of hardware to have after being champs.
On to the 3rd. Bottom of the 2nd. How strange was that?
It felt like it was going to be a big inning, and quite honestly, that's been one of the issues for Liberatore, staying away from the big inning, which he's been unable to do after those couple of walks and then falling behind 1-0. But his slider bailed him out. 3 straight strikeouts on the slider.
So now back to Martin Perez facing the 9-hole hitter Nathan Church. Another rookie, a speed and defense guy, makes a lot of contact, not a ton of pop in his bat. Inside 1-2.
He's held his own though against left-handed pitching so far, batting .262. Now no home runs there and a walk rate under 3%, but he's put the ball in play, and he's been a little bit of a tougher at bat than you might think for left-handed pitching.
Sharp grounder, Mateo right there from the grass. 1 down. You know, I'll admit, CJ, for Perez, that last game when he took that 110-mile-per-hour comebacker off the back of his right leg in San Diego, and then his control was not great the rest of the game. I thought, he might have to miss a little time, but looks pretty good here tonight.
He plowed through it much better than I expected him to, quite honestly. And it was 4 innings and 4 walks, which we're not used to seeing from Martin. I think clearly it affected him. He wasn't going to use it as an excuse. Unfortunately, his only start this year, which he did not go at least 5 innings. But he's a gamer. He understands it, right? He's seen enough baseball and has been around it enough. He understands what's happening right now, where how much the Braves need him in that rotation. And he's very happy to take the ball whenever they ask him to.
And that really is saying something about how consistent he's been. The only time he hasn't gone at least 5. And every time he seems to be giving the Braves a chance to win the ball game. This is that comebacker from Bogarts.
Absolutely smoked there as it caught him in the leg, and there was some real concern about how he was going to feel. The adrenaline took him through the play, but he battled. Talk about learning things from swings, and for Martinez, he's facing this kid in J.J. Weatherholt for the first time, and how much he just pulled off of that slider. Let's see if he gets a little bit wider on it again, or a cutter, I should say.
Nope. Almost a strikeout, but Bart couldn't squeeze it. Weatherholt was the 7th overall pick a couple of years ago. and one of the top prospects in baseball heading into this season. He awaits a 2-2. Takes it low.
Martin trying to finish him with that cutter. There was a little bit, I think, of a reaction that he didn't put it where he wanted to put it. Now he knows he wants to go in the zone, and the question becomes with what pitch.
He walked him. Cutter well outside. Second walk by Perez here tonight.
I almost wonder if Martin kind of talked himself into using that pitch more than he usually would based on that swing that we were talking about, right? He pulled off a cutter really badly, and then Martin went to a couple of those cutters to try to finish the at-bat but couldn't land them.
Quite a few pitches. That's 4 full counts already, and he's only faced 10 batters. There's a strike to Herrera.
You have to worry about Weatherholt. He's a perfect 9 for 9 over there in stolen base attempts this year. The flip side of that is that Herrera is a pretty good ground ball double play candidate. He's hit into 9 of those. We know that Martin does a good job of keeping the baseball on the ground.
Perez painted the inside corner on the previous pitch. A little further in there. 1-2.
That's the way to do it, right? You get one that's there, push him off a little bit more. Now he has the opportunity, if he wants to, backdoor cutter, change up away.
Just like that. Is that where you want that pitch?
Nope. You want it down a little bit further. I mean, if you get it out, you get a weak pop up, it's fine. It was off the plate, which is most important. I think if you miss with that height over the plate, now you're asking for a little bit of trouble. But I think Martin would tell you he was trying to get that further down.
That one down, not offering. Herrera has now a 2-2 count.
So Herrera now asking himself, is he going to try to front door 2-seam me? Do I got to be ready for that? Or is he going back away after a changeup and a cutter? And I don't know the answer, and I'm not sure he does either.
Look at that. He comes inside with that 2-seamer and strikes him out. First strikeout for Perez.
Because when you see a guy, and this is 87 miles an hour, throwing this pitch around 87, 88, you're thinking he's not going to give me a chance to pull it like 3 times in one at bat, is he? And Martin has no fear.
Off the end of the bat, Perez takes it, spins it, fires. Wide throw, but Matt Olson's a big guy over there. No problem. Atlanta Braves baseball is presented by Truist. Back at Truist Park here on this Tuesday night, Braves starting the homestand by hosting the St. Louis Cardinals. No score on to the bottom of the 3rd. So 5 batters to the plate in the 2nd inning. Nobody put the ball in play. 2 walks, 3 strikeouts. And now Mateo. Ha-Seong Kim got all 3 starts in San Francisco. He continued to struggle at the plate. So Walt Weiss putting Mateo out there, and he produces line drive base hit.
Mateo's been very good when he has been out there, and he comes up big here against Matthew Liberatore, and this cutter. Take a look at it, trying to go in. It gets in there most of the way, but he gets the head out. Right, leadoff base hit. So the Braves have had base runners the last couple of innings, and now it's time to cash some in.
Top of the order, Drake Baldwin. If you were watching those games in San Francisco, you saw Drake Baldwin's swing get better and better. Only 2 strikeouts in the last 4 games after he was striking out quite a bit. So signs that Drake is trending in the right direction.
I think the confidence level too for Walt Weiss to put him in the leadoff spot against the lefty, I think tells you how he feels about the swings that he saw from Drake Baldwin. Even in that first at bat, got under one but barreled it.
Taking off, Mateo gets a good jump, and he steals it with ease.
Well, we know he's got great speed, and putting some pressure right now on the St. Louis Cardinals is not a bad idea to try to get this offense going a little bit. As you see Jorge Mateo getting there easily. Liberatore now 12 stolen bases against him. We kind of have a three-man catching core here right now with the St. Louis Cardinals. Between Herrera and Jimmy Cooks, they are now 0 for 20. What is that? 0 for 31 in throwing out potential base stealers. So they haven't thrown out a single one yet. Pedro Pajes has been good. 14 of 45.
And now Mateo, as that one bounces away from Herrera, is going to get to third base.
It's a curveball, so it's going to be that bigger breaking ball that hits the dirt and then the glove of Herrera.
Nobody out. First run of the game 90 feet away. Payoff pitch here. Baldwin fouls it away. He got him. That's the slider. CJ told you about it earlier. It's a good pitch when it's working, and he threw a good one there.
All three strikeouts last inning against the slider. The one to Matt Olson was that fastball that we saw that went to an ABS challenge. But when he's needed to make a big pitch with a couple of strikes, Matthew Liberatore has done it so far here tonight.
Infield in. Ozzie at the plate. Said he did not offer 1-0. Let's take a look at our Zaxby's Who's Got the Sauce feature. Here at home, Ozzie this month in 11 games with good numbers.
And he has been good. And again, even though there has been some struggles for the Braves this month, and offensively there has been some major struggles team-wide, Ozzie has been able to deliver.
Braves asking him to do it again. Fouls away the changeup. Ozzie has the most RBI for the Braves this month, 15 of them, looking for a 16th right here. Another foul ball.
That's the one he'd like to get a hold of, right? That is that slider, but it stayed up in the zone. Ozzie was just out in front of it. Just don't want to see him locate that one really well in the way that he's finished off some Braves hitters in the second and now the third inning.
Out to left. Mateo with such great speed. Newbar's got a good arm. Throw to the plate is late. And Atlanta takes the lead.
I think for Liberatore, he saw that Ozzie was out in front of the slider, and so he goes to the slower curveball instead. And we mentioned these outfielders in St. Louis all have strong arms, but again, it is great speed from Jorge Mateo that beats that throw to home plate.
So an RBI for Ozzie, and now the base is empty for Matt Olson. Mateo with a single steals a base. You get a wild pitch, and just like that, the Braves able to get a 1-0 lead. And that's what the score will be after 3 here in game 1 of this series at Truist Park. Let's go into the numbers brought to you by Hyundai. So Hurston Waldrop, you saw he made his season debut Friday. A.J. Smith-Shawver started his rehab assignment today for Augusta.
It looks really good for the first one, right? 3 innings. The 1 run came on a solo home run, but the 4 punch outs, no walks. The velo apparently touching up to 97 miles an hour. All very encouraging news. Prior to A.J. Smith-Shawver getting hurt, he looked like he was really kind of starting to get settled in, and unfortunately had to have that Tommy John surgery a year ago.
Yeah, when he debuted, it was about the command. Everyone said the stuff is there. You could see it, the big fastball. He's starting to put it all together, and obviously you get him healthy, you get Waldrop going. That could mean very good things for Atlanta here in the next couple of months.
Some speculation about Spencer Schwellenbach, maybe late August into September. Nothing definitive there at all, but he has been missed, certainly, and it'd be a big deal.
And the trade deadline this year not till August 3rd, so still a ways from there, but a lot to be determined. That just missed. I think Martin Perez was hoping that was strike 3.
The thing that can make it exciting is a couple of contenders that likely are not contenders now and likely are not going to be as we get closer to the deadline. That's the Boston Red Sox and the Detroit Tigers.
Because there's some pieces there.
Sonny Gray has said he's willing to talk about the no trade clause, and said it for years. He just always feels like he should be a Brave or would have been a Brave. Casey Mize, an Auburn guy, punched out 10 yesterday. He likely will be available deadline time. He is going to be a free agent. Of course, the guy pitching tonight for the Tigers, and Tarek Skubal, will be the big name. So there could be some action. It's just starting pitching is tough to acquire.
Cardinals will be an interesting team with the deadline. We mentioned they're 5 games over. They've exceeded expectations, but they're going for youth. We'll see what they do. Deep to center here off the bat of Velasquez, and that one's not coming back. That thing was absolutely torched. And this ball game is tied.
Well, Martin was in that full count, and we talk a lot about the cutter. And for Martin, when he's backdooring it, when he's living on the edges, it is a great pitch. But that one catching just a little bit too much of the plate. Again, he doesn't want to walk there, shooting for the edge, but missing on the outer third. And that one went 444 feet.
3 homers in just 16 games this year for Velasquez, and now you see why he was hitting cleanup tonight with a lefty on the mound.
That's got to be fake, right? That's not a real chain, is it?
I don't think that's a real one. Eli White sprinting and getting there in foul territory. Hey, Wiley, we were talking about Hurston Waldrop. What update do you have on him?
Yeah, so he's kind of in the same spot that we've seen Martin Perez placed in at times, or Grant Holmes, where he's going to cover the bullpen and be the long man available in case either Martin Perez or Ronaldo Lopez cannot get deep into the game. Walt did say he felt like best case for Ray is going to be 5 innings tomorrow night. But if he's not used any of the next 2 nights, he is a candidate to potentially start Thursday. I know it can be difficult to follow and can be frustrating, but I just feel like this rotation right now, it's a very fluid state day by day.
Yeah, it does make sense. It's not ideal for everybody involved. You'd like to know exactly what your role is every day, but I think this has become a little bit more common. You have a 5th spot in the rotation that is a little bit in flux, and that means that guys are going to have to do what is asked of them and say, hey, if we need a longer guy, I need you to be live. If it doesn't happen, then you may end up making a start. And there's no better example of a guy who was opened up to that idea than the man on the mound right now.
Walt Weiss has said that Martin Perez at every turn this year has said, I will do whatever you need me to do, whenever you need me to pitch, and whatever role you need me to pitch in.
Makes it really difficult for a young player to be upset or complain when you see a 35-year-old veteran doing it without making a peep.
And with class from the moment that he arrived in that clubhouse. Oh, an error on Stubby Clapp over there. One of my favorite names in the game.
The Memphis legend. I'm going to say he played there for at least 5 or 6 years. Probably one of the few, I believe, to have his number retired by a minor league team. I played with him briefly back in 2003.
First base coach also does good work with their infielders. This one gets through the infield. The runner Wynn will stop at second. So Martin Perez giving up the homer. Now a couple of singles here in the fourth.
A ground ball that gets through against a two-seam fastball from Martin. Elevated here a little bit to Nootbaar, left on left.
And now Blaze Jordan. Talked about his connection with Austin Riley, and like Austin Riley, he is the third baseman for the St. Louis Cardinals. Hits it in that direction. It's going to be Mateo that makes the catch.
So very interesting watching that, and I don't think that Alex McKay over at third base called an infield fly.
He did not.
But afterwards, I couldn't. He just, after it was caught, he put his hand up, and I was like, well, it's too late now.
I think it was right in between. He was a little indecisive on what to do.
I didn't like talking about that around here.
Yeah, that's true. Bad memories. Bottom of the order, Nathan Church. He grounded out last inning.
I'm going to ask Wiley maybe to look into this, or if I remember, we always remember the good questions when we're here, and then we get in front of the guys and I completely forget to ask them. When Martin was in Texas, and of course being outdoors at the old ballpark in Arlington, it was extremely hot. He would use one of those cooling gloves. Have you ever seen those guys who would put them, and it's not to cool their hand, but to actually keep their entire body temperature down? Today seems like it'd be a good day to break that out.
And really all week, these kind of same temperatures with the humidity expected here in Atlanta.
I believe he put it on his non-throwing hand in between innings.
We might need a couple of those up here in the booth.
I could sit in one right now. That'd be great.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Quite a few of those are going to be at the ballpark this week.
Big 4th of July weekend. The bad news for Braves fans: national games Saturday and Sunday.
And we'll be watching with all of you. 2 on, 2 out, 2-2 pitch. Oh boy. Deep toward the chop house, and it's got enough to get out of here. 3-run homer by Church and a 4-run inning for the Cardinals.
Left on left changeup from Martin Perez, and take a look at location here. Down and into a lefty, and this has been an effective pitch for Martin at times. He'll throw it back door, but down and into a slower swinging kind of bat guy in Church. Unfortunately, ended up not working out.
Top of the order trying to lay down a bunt. Weatherholt sends it foul. So all 4 runs on the long ball here. Velasquez with a solo shot, but that big blow by Nathan Church, his 6th of the season, making it 4-1. This one pretty deep out to left on the track. Dubon is able to make the catch and send us to the bottom of the 4th with the Braves now trailing. Braves have advanced to phase 2 of voting for the All-Star game. It's up to you to send them to Philly, folks. Braves.com/vote. Cast your ballot for Olsen, Harris, Baldwin, Acuna, and Ozzie. All fans who select the Braves as their favorite team will be rewarded with an offer of 33% off of 4 tickets to a future home game. And the future All-Star Michael Harris almost got hit by that curveball. He walked in the second and gets ahead 2-0 here. This will be pitch number 60 for Liberatore. You know, we talked about the Braves rotation, some of the question marks. The Cardinals rotation, middle of the pack, not great numbers, but what's amazing for them going back to last season, no one's really gotten injured.
Yeah, they stayed relatively healthy, which is hard to do in this game. You start looking around a lot of teams in baseball and everyone looking for the most part, some help, but they have been one of the consistent ones. The Mariners over the years for a long time had been. They're starting to run into a little bit of trouble as well, but you're absolutely right. It's kind of fascinating to see, and especially coming off the year that we saw with the Braves last year when it was, what, 46 pitchers that they ended up using. 44 real pitchers, couple of position players that got in there, but that was a Braves record last season.
And last year the Cardinals made it through with basically only using 6 starters, and essentially it's been the same 5 this year with no big IL stint from that starting 5.
And with Sonny Gray gone now in Boston and certainly opening up opportunities for others, I think they're also in that position where there's some runway for some younger guys, right, to continue to make starts. Liberatore is trying to work through it and get things kind of figured out, so they're going to have a little bit more patience, even though they're having a pretty respectable season. So much turnover. As I was looking at some of the numbers, the payroll numbers that you see on the internet are not always exact. They kind of give you a little bit of a ballpark, but I use Roster Resources, the website that I check out. That payroll is down $45 million from a year ago, which is far and away the biggest number in baseball, yet here they are having a pretty good season.
Well, they traded Arenado, Donovan, Gray, Contreras, and mostly young pitching in return for those trades.
And I'll tell you, I was a little bit surprised that they signed Dustin Gray the way that they did, or excuse me, Dustin May, for the 1-year deal to bring him in, but that's one that's working out, and if they stay in contention, great, and if not, they have themselves a pretty good trade candidate.
Dubon deep to left. Newbar back. Makes a catch on the run as he slams into the wall.
This ball was hit hard by Mauricio Dubon, unfortunately, against the slider. It looked like it might have had enough backspin, but not quite enough, and a really good looking swing from Mauricio Dubon. And a few too many Cardinals fans here for me with the Newt cheer. I'm like, why are they booing? And they're not booing Mauricio, certainly. No, that's the Newt cheer.
And despite the heat, good crowd tonight here at Truist Park for a Tuesday as we begin this holiday week into the holiday weekend.
It's a good ice cream night. Just got to be quick.
Yes, I'd say 5 minutes or less, or then you're going to turn it into a nice bowl of soup.
Challenge accepted.
Speaking of challenges,
For your speechless call ball, catcher is challenging.
this challenge is powered by T-Mobile. It is a strike.
Oh, it's overturned. St. Louis has to challenge reminded.
It's always hard to say the intent level on these higher breaking balls that just catch the top of the strike zone, but we're definitely seeing more and more of it.
Nice play over there.
They've been busy. Good backhand. Is that John Jay there? And then I thought I saw McGreevy caught one earlier with his hat.
With the Rolex on the wrist. Got to be careful.
Oh no, who was that there? Is that Riley O'Brien? I can't. I'm guessing here. I shouldn't guess like that.
Good night for a sweatshirt. It's only 147 degrees.
Yeah.
A 2-2 fastball gets by Eli White. 2 down. 7 strikeouts for Matthew Liberatore. Let's take a look at our Yellowwood Bringing the Lumber feature. Austin Riley's career numbers against the St. Louis Cardinals. 354 over 34 games when playing St. Louis.
I know you've heard this bit of advice before, and it's good advice. Stick with your instincts. That was John Jay.
See?
Dang it.
I knew you had it.
that is quite the coach's watch he is sporting.
It looks real. Again, I don't know that it's a Rolex, but well, actually now there's some plastic involved in there. Maybe it came out of a vending machine. I don't know.
25 tickets at Dave & Buster's.
He was great on that whack-a-mole, though. On one bounce, Mason Wynn. Very good shortstop. Makes a relatively easy play to send us to the 5th. How about this? The Braves and the British consulate in Atlanta have teamed up to theme out a British-style double-decker bus. It's parked outside the Coca-Cola Roxy tonight. England taking on the Congo tomorrow at noon in the big tournament. We can't say the official name of it, so hopefully we have some English supporters in the ballpark here tonight. And 1 pitch, 1 out here in the 5th.
So I missed the beginning of that. You said party bus and drinks are on VG?
No, they're actually on the English consulate here in Atlanta. Yeah.
Perfect.
But the game between England and the Congo tomorrow downtown. We also can't say the name of that stadium, but it's where the Falcons play. I think we can say that. And the event, it's like water closet, but take the WC and make 2 different words, and that's the event they're playing in.
It's the World Baseball Classic for football.
There you go. That's a good way to look at it. Jordan Walker at the plate. And the Stone Mountain native hits it to another Atlanta kid out there. And Michael Harris. Two quick outs, and here's a quick message from Chevy.
Get into a 2026 Chevy Trax, starting at $23,495. Proud partner of the Atlanta Braves.
Could we get an all changeup inning? It's only been 3 pitches, but they have all been changeups from Martin. Yeah.
Sorry.
We just want 3 outs, really. At the end of the day, as fun as that was, 3 outs, no runs.
This is the guy that got the scoring started last inning. Hit that 444-foot homer to center. Martin Perez had only given up 2 homers in his last 35 innings before giving up 2 in the 4th. Now he's trying to get through the 5th with a 1-2-3 frame, but he cannot. He walks Velasquez and will face Fermin next.
For Velasquez, now on in all 3 of his plate appearances. It was a single before he hit that home run, and now the walk. Does look like James Karinchak has begun throwing in the Atlanta Braves bullpen. You mentioned that pitch count. If you look at Martin, Mentioned that was the first time in his last start that he did not go at least 5 innings. His pitch counts have always been pretty low for the most part. His last 8 starts has been 86 pitches or less. And he has gotten into the 90s. That was earlier on for him. There was a 94 to 91 pitch start, but here he is now with 83 under his belt, which has been right at that number that Walt seems to be comfortable with Martin right now.
Cutter for a strike, 1-2 here to Jose Fermin.
So his version of emptying the tank, like we talked about with Chris Sale, is maybe that backdoor cutter. Front door two-seamer, probably the one you dig a little bit deeper for a called third strike. Maybe a changeup 1-2.
Well, he jammed him. And Mateo comes in to make the play. So Perez gets through 5. We're halfway home at a 4-1 ball game.
Bury me in Braves country. Not just yet. I'm not ready, but eventually, yes. Braves fans, get ready for the Kane Brown bobblehead giveaway and celebration night on September 9th. The bobblehead honors country music superstar Kane Brown and his unforgettable performance of Georgia on My Mind during the 2025 MLB All-Star Game that we had right here in Atlanta. Visit Braves.com/promos to secure your tickets for the night.
I'm a little sad. I thought that Kane Brown was right around my age. He's a decade younger than me.
Is he really?
Yeah, he's 32. I guess that's what happens.
He's got some of that Hollywood help, though, doesn't he? Probably.
Yeah, he does. Number 32, Matthew Liberatore, back on the mound here, dealing to 8-9-1 in the Braves lineup.
By the way, we did get an answer, not surprisingly. Braves country never disappoints on social media about the watch that John Jay was wearing. Multiple detectives getting to work on the G-Shock. It's a Casio watch. It retails for about $550.
Oh, so it's not a cheapie.
No, that's John Jay.
But it's not a Rolly. Okay.
That's the game watch, and you spice it up for the after game watch.
Jerry Seinfeld had it looks waterproof, and Jerry Seinfeld has a good bit on a waterproof watch. It's like, I went scuba diving. They give me all this gear. They gave me a waterproof watch. He goes, what am I going to do with this? I get underneath down. I'm like, I'm out of oxygen, and and it's 5:30, and that's going to be my time of death. So, but it did. It looked waterproof. Bart struck out looking back in that second inning where Liberatore walked 2 and then struck out 3. He's going to walk here. So that's 3 innings where the Braves have had the leadoff man on with a walk.
I think it hit him.
Oh, did it? Okay. Yeah, that would make sense.
I mean, it'd be cool if you could draw a walk on a
1-2 count. I'm like, he's walking down there. I was too focused on my waterproof watches. Yeah, it hit his toe. So they had the leadoff man on, Harris in the second with a walk. 4th inning, Harris with a walk, and now it's Bart here getting hit by a pitch to start the bottom of the 5th.
Much like Martin Perez, for Matthew Liberatore, he's not gotten that deep in games with much consistency. Last time he went 6 innings, you got to go all the way back to May 7th. So it's been 8 straight starts where he's been at 5 1/3 or less. And with that pitch count at 80, same type of thing where he has been kind of in the upper 80s. He got to triple digits just twice this year. It's a hot night, and there's a chance to get into this bullpen early.
Bullpen is quiet right now. Another foul ball. Let's take a look at our Whataburger What a Play with the Braves trailing 4-1 here. It's a discussion that we've had a lot. So many come from behind wins for Atlanta, 26, and hoping for 27 tonight.
And a big part of that too for a while was what was happening at the bottom of the order. Remember how often we were talking about 7, 8, 9. That has slowed down a little bit, but Joey Bart getting hit by a pitch, and Jorge Mateo's already got himself a base hit tonight.
Just missed a double there. Four straight foul balls for Mateo. And then a swing and a miss at the slider. 8th K for Liberatore.
Well, he's used this pitch pretty effectively. We talked about it coming into the night, and of those 8 strikeouts, 5 of them have come on the slider from Matthew Liberatore.
His season high and career high for strikeouts is 10. He did that May 25th against Milwaukee. But he was facing on the other side Jacob Mizorowski, who struck out 12 in that game.
Incredible to see when you think about where Drake Baldwin was a year ago and not getting those everyday opportunities to face left-handed pitching.
He's 0 for 2 tonight. Trying to break out of this slump. Ahead of that curveball and fouls it away. Braves still waiting on Sean Murphy's return, still a while out. Swing and a miss. It's a slider once more from Liberatore. Yeah, Wiley, I was mentioning Sean Murphy. That made me think about Acuna in the timeline there. I know Walt gave an update before the game. What did you find out?
Yeah, he's going through some running exercises right now, which is obviously a good sign, but the Braves do want to be extremely cautious given that it was the same spot as his previous hamstring injury. And Walt described a return before the All-Star break as a, quote, long shot.
Yeah, and he's kind of said that for the last week or so, and it probably makes sense at this point, CJ, right? Just everybody wants him back, know what he can do when he gets in that lineup, but give him a little extra time here.
You want him to remain healthy the rest of the year. I know the offense is struggling a little bit. It's going to be great to get Ronald Acuna Jr. back in the middle of it, but it doesn't mean that you get over aggressive. You've got to make sure that he is ready to go, and I think based on where we are now talking about the second half of the season, you want to prep him to kind of be with you the rest of the way the best you can. Nothing is guaranteed, but you do the best you can to make sure you have him and make sure he's really ready to go.
And that would get him a couple more weeks of rest. Two-0 pitch coming here to Ozzie. High bouncer, stays fair. Fermin across to Jordan, and Jordan able to keep his foot on the bag to end the 5th inning. So it is on to the bullpen and James Karinchak as we take a look at our Allstate Good Hands replay. And they are the numbers for Karinchak this season.
He's been a really good story for the Braves and a comeback story, right? It's been a couple of years since he had been in the big leagues. The four-seam fastball curveball combination. The velo has been very good, sitting at 95 miles an hour. A big break on that curveball. And talk about the fastball at the top of the zone. The curveball at the bottom has worked very well for James Karinchak.
Yeah, he seemed like, because of the potential that you saw in Cleveland, he was one of those low risk, high reward guys. And so far, it's been a good reward for Atlanta in that bullpen. Facing Mason Wynn here to start the 6th.
What do you got on that? It's like a faint chant going on. I got some soccer chants.
Well, I was wondering, we talked about getting some England football fans here. It does sound like a soccer football chant here breaking out at Truist Park, but I can't detect where it's coming from.
This guy trying to start his own tarp soft movement.
That's right. Every movement starts with one.
I think that's been part of the experience for American fans, and seeing, just like we talk about during the WBC, right? They come to your country, you get to see how they kind of celebrate watching their sport. And for a lot of folks talking about, man, that'd be great if we could get those kind of organized cheers in baseball. They exist in other countries. You go to Korea, you go to Japan, they have a lot of organized cheering sections, songs for each player. I just don't know if that's ever going to take in the States, as fun as it is. It's a pretty hard thing to, I think, get going.
Yeah. Now, over there with baseball, would it be started by a specific group of fans? Would it be started by the PA? Would it be started by?
So there's a cheerleader, literally, like separate the word, not a cheerleader, but a cheerleader who would be in charge of that. And what was amazing to me, not only did they have a song for all the players, and it was very organized and very catchy, right? Sometimes it would be mimicking like an American rock song maybe that had a fun tune to it. But then also the visiting team then got their time to cheer for their players, and the home team wouldn't say anything. They would actually let them go through their kind of cheer program when some of their guys were hitting.
So that was just kind of the kind, polite thing to do.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, Karinchak with a walk, and now missing to Newbar. Quick conference with Joey Bart.
But it was never quiet. You know, baseball, obviously, with our sport, it'll get quiet at times, and you get a nice international soccer feel when you're watching baseball in other countries.
There's the cheerleader.
So that there counts as the second disengagement for James Karinchak, as he stepped off and he's already thrown over once.
Wynn takes off, and he's safe.
And so whatever the communication issue was on which pitch James Karinchak wanted to throw, he's only got 2 pitches. And so, but for whatever reason, he wasn't comfortable. He stepped off, and that put Mason Wynn in a much more comfortable position to try to steal second, which he does pretty easily.
I do like that oven mitt with a Cardinal. It's like Angry Birds.
It looks like a puppet.
That too. Just low, no challenge, and probably the right call there from Bart. Newbar is a very patient hitter, always above the league average in walk rate. That one in the zone, and he swings and misses. He is down on strikes.
Well, it's not only good velocity, pretty good velocity by today's standards with James Karinchak, but it's the ride. It is the ride that he gets on that fastball, which again, you'll see the barrels go underneath that baseball because it just has such good carry. And that swing got a little bit long for Nootbaar as you watch it from the side.
So here's Blaze Jordan. Talked about him getting a lot of time at third base, at first base tonight, and batting 8th in the order. He's 0 for 2.
That smaller, tighter version, and you can see maybe with some antennas we talked about, top of the zone for James Karinchak.
Guys, you got Blaze Jordan there at the plate. Well, keep in mind, Mason Wynn out there at second, his middle name is Blaze.
Appropriately named.
Yeah. Thought that'd be fun, so I shared it.
Same spelling?
I believe so.
Is there any other way?
Yeah, B-L-A-I-S-E.
You got to do Z, don't you?
Z's cooler. Going to be a wild pitch here. That got way away from Bart. So a walk, a stolen base, a wild pitch, and Wynn is down at third with one away.
This is the other part of that big breaking ball that you have to deal with as a catcher. And we've seen this a couple times from James Karinchak where he'll spike that thing and it comes in hot. And it is a challenge to kind of deaden that ball the way that you want to as a catcher with your chest protector.
2-2 here with the infield in. And this is going to make it 5-1. Eli White getting it on the track, but Wynn will trot home for the Cardinals.
Elevated fastball, good piece of hitting here, right? You're trying to get the baseball in the air, in the outfield if you can. And getting to that fastball that is up, again, not an easy thing to do, but he was able to find a way and drive and run the first one that is charged to James Karinchak this season.
Comes in his 7th appearance as a Brave, and now with 2 outs he faces Nathan Church. Nathan Church has had the biggest swing of this game. 3-run home run in the 4th. At the time it made it 4-1. In foul territory, it will be Joey Bart making the catch. A run for the Cardinals, 5-1 as we go to the bottom of the 6th.
Inside the Delta Sky 360 Club, we've got all sorts of food available, premium seats behind home plate, and if you're the sophisticated consumer like myself, we've also got the Gold Glove Bar right behind me where you can whip up a cocktail. So if you want to be a part of the Delta Sky 360 Club, go to braves.com/premium and join the wait list.
I like that energy. And that's going to get the offense going here in the bottom of the 6th. Ballard getting people to the wait list. It'll be Matt Olson, Michael Harris, Mauricio Dubon here in the 6th.
I'll tell you what, Matt Olson has been pitched very well tonight here by Matthew Liberatore. He's had some of his struggles, as we know, and even against left-handed hitters that come in with a pretty high batting average against him at .316, but There was the ABS challenge for the strikeout in the first inning, and then it was a couple of really well-placed fastballs and a very good curveball. Not really many mistakes at all made so far here, left on left from Liberatore to Matt Olson.
9 strikeouts for the lefty. Again, 10 is his career high. He's at 95 pitches, so he's nearing the end. George Soriano, right-hander, now throwing. I think they would like to get Liberatore through Olson and Harris here. We'll see how it plays out. Payoff pitch. Check down. No, according to Alex McKay. So that is now 3 leadoff walks for Atlanta and a leadoff hit by pitch tonight.
And Marmal's not happy about it at all. We'll see if that's going to lead to a pitching change. It may. Take a look at the side here for Matt Olson. That barrel did not come around. Be more frustrated, I think, with Matthew Liberatore a little bit, right? You have that 4-run lead. And again, Matt Olson's a great hitter, but you'd rather get beat by a hit than a walk, and it is going to cost him his night.
So 9 strikeouts, 5+ innings. He'll be responsible for Olson. And now the Cardinals turning to the bullpen here in the bottom of the 6th. Atlanta Braves baseball is brought to you by Georgia Natural Gas. Simple savings right here. Visit GNG.com. By your local Ford dealers. And also by Comcast Business. All in connection and protection your small business can rely on. No one does business like Comcast Business. Almost 9 o'clock here local on this Tuesday night. 5-1 Cardinals. See if the Braves can get to the bullpen now. George Soriano, CJ, last 3 years for the Marlins, not great numbers. This has been the best year of his career.
Yeah, it's a lower strikeout rate. You can see it there at 20%. He's got a good arm. 4-seam fastball sits at 97. Changeup, slider, 2-seamer, and sweeper. So very deep repertoire that you get from Soriano. And backward splits. He's been better against the lefties than he has the righties by a pretty wide margin.
So he's brought in here to face the lefty Harris, who has 2 walks tonight. Maybe trending towards a 3rd free pass. Against Soriano the last couple of years in Miami, Harris was 1 for 5. That one hit was a home run against George Soriano.
That right there, part of the reason why he has been so good against the lefties, he uses that changeup more than any other pitch to them, and they're hitting just 0.45 against it.
Buries the changeup into the ground. Now Olson will get to second, but there's one away. A quick message from Delta.
From Braves country to the world. Delta, official airline of the Atlanta Braves.
Here's Doobie.
For Atlanta, number 18, Mike Yastrzemski. 18 Yastrzemski on deck.
Mike Yastrzemski has grabbed a bat. He's in the on-deck circle and placed a hit for Eli White.
I think Mitch's voice made it over our mics. It's got some carry to it.
Yeah.
The PA announcer, of course, Mitch, one of the great PR folks here with the Atlanta Braves.
Does a good job with those announcements. His presence is felt. Routine fly ball to Nootbaar. So Yaz will hit here and take over in right field. So when we were out in San Francisco talking to Yaz about his time with the Giants, he also showed me a video of his 2-year-old son, Michael, who they call Kai, and him swinging a golf club, and it is incredible.
Really?
Oh my gosh. And the kid's 2. No doubt he could beat me, which isn't saying much.
You got him off the tee, though, don't you?
Yeah, I don't think so. It was unbelievable watching this kid swing, though.
Smart move. Get him started early.
Yes.
Instead of trying to correct mistakes in your 30s and 40s.
Mike and his wife Paige, they also have a daughter, Quinley. No balls and 2 strikes to Yaz.
No fastballs so far, and it may stay that way here. Mentioned with Soriano and how good he has been against the lefties, but really using a lot of the off speed. Now he may use a fastball for show, but it has been slider, changeup so far too. Yes.
There's a changeup at 92. George Soriano is first cousins with Alfonso Soriano, of course, former major leaguer, 7-time All-Star. There's 97.
Today's attendance is 32,932. 32,932.
Tap toward the middle. And Weatherholt throws over, but Yaz beat it out. We'll see if the Cardinals want to challenge him.
Tell you what, I thought this was going to be an easy infield base hit. They are going to challenge it for Mike Yastrzemski. What a heck of a play. We mentioned Weatherholt and how good he has been defensively. I didn't think he had a shot at this.
St. Louis is challenging the safe call at first base.
And I think by the time they finish that sentence, we already know that this is going to be overturned.
I didn't want to say it until we saw the replay, but I thought he was out from the naked eye, and unfortunately it looks like that's going to be the case.
And credit where credit is due. That was a really good play by J.J. Weatherholt.
They haven't announced it, but everyone saw the video board, and they're heading for the dugouts.
After review, the call on the field is overturned. The runner is out. St. Louis will retain their challenge.
And there's the official word from the crew chief, Alan Porter.
It's time for our Comcast Defend the Mound feature. Comcast Business and the Braves best in Major League Baseball when it comes to the work they've gotten out of their bullpen. And guys, we've talked so much about the comeback wins Atlanta has had. Not only does that require some late offense, it also requires throwing some zeros up late in games. And particularly when you're not using your necessarily A closer, B setup man, those types of pieces. Guys like Dylan Dodd have come up clutch. And Snit talked about it a lot last year, but he has really grown into this role, and he's a guy who can get lefties and righties out.
The depth of the bullpen has been real, and it's because of guys like Dylan Dodd and the way that they have stepped up. To be able to have big arms that can get big outs on both sides of the ball when you're winning and when you're losing goes back to something we were talking about earlier in all those comeback wins. Right, you got to have a bullpen that can hold the offense of the other team down while you're down to give you a chance to come back, and they've done it really well. Watch the way the offseason developed, and it has been a great year for the bullpen.
Is Weatherholt going to challenge?
He did. There was no eye contact from the home plate umpire.
Previous pitch was called strike. Batter challenging.
Yeah, you're right. Roberto Ortiz realized it late, but he grants it to him, and this looked outside. And it is.
St. Louis have to challenge for money.
So Weatherholt made the very nice defensive play to end the 6th inning. Here he leads off the 7th. 0 for 2 with a walk tonight. Yaz, as we said, stays in the game out in right field, replacing Eli White. Yes, painted. Beautiful pitch from Dodd.
And this has been the greatest improvement to Dylan Dodd in his game and what he's done now against left-handed hitters. It registers as a two-seamer, it carries like a four-seamer, and the location is spot on.
On that trip out west, I was talking with Dylan Dodd about the mentality moving to the bullpen versus formerly as a starter. And he talked about how much he's enjoying the bullpen role. And CJ, usually, I shouldn't say usually, I'll just ask you, you hear about the guys who get moved to the bullpen begrudgingly.
Yeah.
But Dylan Dodd was saying, as a starter, he said, first of all, I wasn't very good. I said, well, give yourself a little bit of credit. But he said, I thought too much. I had to sit down around and all day and think, okay, tonight's the night I'm starting. As a bullpen, in the bullpen, you get that call, you're up, and you don't think much, and you just go out there and pitch. And he says he's really enjoying that aspect of it.
It's probably how you're going to start things when we do the This Is Your Life CJ Nitkowski, because it was exactly the same for me. Really struggled to find consistency in the rotation, but you get coaches looking at your stuff and still trying to get you to start. And I felt so much more relief actually when I got put back into the bullpen for the very last time in the last shot that I had at starting, because I just couldn't find that consistency because of exactly what Dylan Dodd is talking about. Stuff that absolutely there. Thinking about it too much. The 5 days in between felt like an eternity.
And Mateo scoops and throws, 2 down.
Just let the phone ring, the heartbeat go up, and go in the game. You don't have time to think.
And it's working out extremely well for him. He actually debuted against these Cardinals in St. Louis as a starter back in 2023. But now between last year and this year, he has found a home in Atlanta's pen.
At the end of the day, you just want to be a good big leaguer. And if you're realizing that starting is not going to be the way, and you figure out a way to be successful in the bullpen, you just want to be here. You want to be successful. I'm sure there are some guys that have done a little back and forth that probably prefer to be starting, but I think for Dylan Dodd, he's realizing this is my best chance at putting together a lengthy career and contributing to a winner.
The stretch is coming up. It is fueled by Georgia Natural Gas. Friendly faces Nicholas Green the first and Peter Moylan the first in the battery with us tonight. Three-0 to Walker. Walker, two-time Georgia Gatorade High School Player of the Year. He was a phenom at Decatur High School. Cards took him 21st overall back in 2020. He's having a breakout season. He's going to challenge this.
I think he's going to lose that one. That cutter was coming back and looked like it caught the corner.
You're correct.
It just confirmed. St. Louis had one time remaining.
I thought you were going to give me like an Ed McMahon there. You are correct, sir.
Star search.
Doesn't happen too often.
Let's see if Dodd can get a 1-2-3 7th here and send us to the stretch. Swing and a miss. Dodd retires him in order, finishing with a strikeout of Walker. And we head to the stretch.
Welcome to the stretch, fueled by Georgia Natural Gas. Service, savings, sustainability. It's that simple.
Welcome to the Stretch, fueled by Georgia Natural Gas. Nick Green and Peter Moylan here with you. We're going to go ahead and look forward to Game 2 of this series against the Cardinals. Reynaldo Lopez started the season in the rotation for the Braves. He moved to the bullpen. Now he's back in that rotation again. He's making his second start since April 21st. He pitched on Friday against the Giants. Here's who he goes up against. Michael McGreevy on the other side for the Cardinals. 16 games, 3-6 with a 3.12 ERA. Ray Peter, second start since April 21st. You called for this. Maybe that starting rotation is where he needs to be. He went 3 innings in his last start.
He gets another chance tomorrow, and I really like what I saw from him last time out. Obviously, there's been some times during the season where he's been lights out, and then there's been some struggles. But the last time I saw a real even mix between that slider and that curveball. He didn't have to rely heavily on the slider. He got a little bit of swing and miss with it. The fastball velo stayed pretty true for most of the game, and I felt like he got stronger as that game went on. So this is another chance for him to go out there and dominate against a team that's had some pretty good night tonight.
Yeah, and the one thing we wanted to see was him have consecutive appearances where he was good going into possibly starting his last 5 appearances. Peter, 1 earned and 10 1/3. 4 of those in relief, 1 as a starter. Let's get you back to Braves baseball after a quick word from our friends at Georgia Natural Gas.
When it comes to natural gas in Georgia, G&G leads the league. We keep it simple with great rates that save you money. We even make it easy to reduce your carbon footprint with greener life. Sign up in minutes at gng.com. It's that simple.
On to the bottom of the 7th. Nick and Peter are right. Reynaldo Lopez seems to have found a little bit of momentum working out of the pen and getting that start this past weekend in San Francisco. One thing that did jump out, though, was that his velocity was a little down there in the first inning. And when Reynaldo was asked about, they said, I didn't quite expect it to be as cold as it was in San Francisco. Again, that velo climbed in the 2nd, the 3rd inning. But, I asked Reynaldo today, how do you feel about pitching in these types of conditions? He looked at me and said, come on now. I'm from the Dominican Republic, man. It's in the 90s all the time. I love it.
It's a nice November day.
Now Riley to the gap, but it's cut off by Church. Yeah, it's pretty consistent. When you ask for the fans, it's often discussed the heat, the summer, etc. You talk to these ball players, especially here, and they're like, yeah, this is baseball weather. We deal with this all the time.
Yeah, for me, we talked about too. I think those perfect pitching conditions are not the same for everybody. But something about the overcast with a little bit of humidity is usually when the body feels best. Some guys love that heat. Some guys love that heat and still want to have sleeves on. Right? Kind of an interesting, that definitely wasn't me, but an interesting way to go about it. But to each their own. And you don't get to choose, so we're going to battle a little bit here this week.
Yeah, bench coach Tony Manzolino had on long sleeves. Quite a few guys did down there. Drake Baldwin, I was asking them about it. And they said, well, one, less sunscreen, especially Tony Manzolino said that's something that he's really worried about as he gets older. And he said also, you'd be surprised, but it absorbs the sweat and actually keeps me a little cooler. So quite a few long sleeves down there.
And even the sweatshirt on top of it.
Now that's a little aggressive.
Now is Blooper, is that air conditioned costume he's got there?
Boy, if not, I hope it's got a big dry cleaning budget.
Hey, there's Wiley.
Wiley's got a big dry cleaning budget. For all his polos. No, when Wiley gets a polo messed up, he sends it to the Nitkowski dry cleaning where Megan fixes it. I believe that is the shirt that was you ruined.
100%. There was a big stain like right here, and it is gone.
Okay, right by your areola. Now it's all taken care of. Called strike on the changeup. 2 down here in the bottom of the 7th.
How was the lemon cookie? Did you take a bite?
It's excellent.
Yeah, I mean, I've had enough bad food today, but those look great.
Francesca brought in some gooey butter cookies, St. Louis delicacy.
Oh, they're gooey butter?
Yes.
Oh, I can find room for one of those.
Yeah.
That's a fun name.
Give it a shot.
I thought they were lemon.
Melts in your mouth.
And this is a St. Louis delicacy also, is that correct?
That's what I'm told.
By the way, we also have toasted ravioli that Chef brought up to us that they do have available at the ballpark. While the St. Louis Cardinals are here, of course, toasted ravioli is kind of their thing. Get some marinara sauce, mozzarella cheese, Italian herbs and seasoning. It's good.
Does it say where they are in the ballpark?
It doesn't. That's the only thing it did not say. So look at it as kind of like a quest.
Yeah, you've got to find the toasted ravioli. Now I'm going to show you these, but I want you to know this is not what it looked like an hour ago when they were delivered.
We dug in a little bit.
It looked really good. The cheese was gooey and melted, and now everything is kind of firmed up a bit, but fantastic.
And maybe most importantly, nice to see Chef back after he was on the IL for a little while.
No, he was sick at COVID.
He had COVID?
Yeah.
That's what he said?
105-degree fever.
Oh, I didn't know it was that bad. Wow.
Yeah, but he's back and whipping up delicacies. Soriano with a 2-2 here to Mateo. Fouled away. Gosh, CJ, you look back at each inning, and obviously the Braves don't have a ton of hits. They have one, but all the walks and the leadoff man on in 5 straight innings, but just haven't been able to push much across.
Yeah, it's been pretty frustrating. And the offense, I mentioned, much better at home than the road as far as how this team has played, how they have swung the bats. It felt like it was going to be a good night the way that things were lining up. But unfortunately, even with the day off, we have seen this offense struggle. And maybe it is going to be something as simple as turning the calendar and getting to July tomorrow. But it is time to get it going. Unfortunately, the Philadelphia Phillies were winning. Is that game over? Things have gotten incredibly close. Yeah, they won 8-0.
Yeah, so it's 3 games right now. Could be 2.5 after tonight. It's been a bit of a June swoon for the Atlanta Braves. Oh gosh, 8th pitch of the at bat coming near the head of Mateo, but I think he got out of the way. That is always such a scary moment.
This was a slider, and so not a fastball, but doesn't make it any less uncomfortable for a hitter, especially if anything. This is a little bit more difficult because you see the spin and there's expectations that that ball is going to break away from you, and it did anything but. Might have even tailed back some and near the head of Soriano, but luckily that did not hit Jorge Mateo.
All right, JoJo Romero is going to come into the game here with 2 outs in the bottom of the 7th. All right, JoJo Romero coming on here with 2 outs in the bottom of the 7th to face Drake Baldwin.
2-seam fastball around 94 miles an hour, sweeper changeup, 4-seamer every once in a while. And for Romero, the split's kind of backwards for him. Now the batting averages are close, but the OPS is over 800 against left-handed hitters.
Former Philly, now in his 4th full season with St. Louis, has become one of the team's top setup arms over the past couple of years. 1 ball and 1 strike.
5 home runs allowed, 4 of them by left-handed hitters. Kind of interesting to see here for Romero, but the overall number is good, respectable ERA, and he's been a steady here, as you mentioned, in St. Louis.
Baldwin fouls away the 2-seamer.
The Cardinals went into the season not really anticipating contending, and I'm not sure how much of a real contender they are, but Romero is one of the ones that is a free agent, and we see a lot of movement with relief pitchers as we get closer to that August 3rd deadline.
Baldwin reaches for it and slaps it out to left field for a single. And that stops an 0 for 36 skid for Drake Baldwin. And it is good to see, no matter how soft it may have been hit, it does not matter. Maybe that turns things in the right direction.
It's that great plate coverage that you get, and beyond the plate, quite honestly, for Drake Baldwin. You see him reaching for this, but the hands are back just enough to be able to get a base hit against this Romero sweeper.
And Ozzie comes up and lines it to the gap. It falls down, and a run will score. 5-2. Ozzie has driven in both.
We just talked about Drake Baldwin keeping the hands back. Ozzie goes to a high leg kick like we see so often, but it's the same thing. The hands don't go forward with the leg kick, and that leaves him enough room to be on time against this changeup.
And now, one swing of the bat here for Matt Olson, and this baby could be tied at 5. "20 homers, 52 driven in for Matty O."
Oh. Pitch was ball, catcher challenge.
I don't think that was anywhere near.
Yeah, and by the way, they're out.
Yeah, they're done.
He had the Jordan Walker backdoor cutter that he tried to challenge that did not go their way.
So the Braves have both. That could loom large later in the game. We'll see.
That's the pitch, and Romero, even though he's not a real big strikeout pitcher, respectable numbers, but most of them, more than half, are against that sweeper that he has.
2 on, 2 out, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Olson toward the middle, right under the legs of Alan Porter. Wide throw, but Jordan stretches and the side is retired. The Braves get 1 to make it 5-2. So Ozzie with both RBI, but the Braves still down 3, starting the 8th inning. And 3rd appearance of the year as a Brave for Ian Hamilton.
And the second since he has been recalled, and the first one went pretty well in San Diego. It was an inning with a couple of strikeouts, and what we will continue to talk about and watch with Ian Hamilton is the slider. It looked good in his last one. It still has that really good bite from a few years ago. It was one of the better sliders in baseball. It'll be about location for him, and if he can keep that pitch down and away or back foot down and into left-handed hitters, he'll have some success.
Alec Burleson is going to hit here in the DH spot for Velasquez. Burleson normally over there at first base, but with a lefty starting tonight, he was getting the night off, at least from a starter's perspective, but called into action here in the 8th inning.
So let's talk about pinch hitting and how difficult it can be. A former teammate of mine, Lenny Harris, has the most pinch hits in Major League history with 212. The guy that is second on that list is in the St. Louis Cardinals television booth tonight, and Mark Sweeney, who was an excellent pinch hitter over the course of his career with 176 of those. A lot more opportunities back in the day in the National League, of course, when you had the pitchers hitting. But it is an art form, and it's always interesting. There's Sweens on the left.
And of course, Chip Carey there on the right, longtime voice of the Braves. And always good to see him before the game and catching up with him. A couple of good ones over there. And Mark said what he does about 35 games.
Something like, maybe a little closer to 40, somewhere in that range, plus a bunch of pre and post. And he and I were broadcast teammates at Fox. And I hope he can see us making fun of him somehow. And he's a good dude, really good guy.
Swing and a miss. One down. Here's a message from Yamaha.
Introducing the world premiere of the 29-foot series from Yamaha.
Now for Mean. Jose Fermin, parts of 4 big league seasons, all with the Cardinals. Grew up in the Dominican Republic. Great article about how he learned how to hit. His dad, Jose Sr., gave him a sawed-off broomstick and used to pluck kernels off of a corn cob, and that was the ball. The sawed-off broomstick was the bat. And they would do that every day in the afternoon, and that's how he developed his hand-eye coordination and such good contact skills as a baseball player.
Yeah, how could you not have great hand-eye? You said they were hitting corn
with
a sawed-off?
Yeah,
I mean,
corn
yikes.
kernels.
Holy cow.
He started doing that at 7 years old. And he's difficult to strike out, so it worked. He's a good contact hitter.
I'm not sure I could hit a kernel of corn with one of those big wiffle ball bats. The red one.
And think about doing it at 7. At 7 years old.
Listen, between getting golf started at 2 and hitting popcorn kernels at 7, there's a pattern here.
Well, he's going to walk with 1 out here in the 8th. No challenges left for the Cardinals.
Did I miss Ian Hamilton diving somewhere that he's got dirt all over his chest?
Yastrzemski makes the catch. Maybe he got.
Did he pinch run and we didn't know earlier?
Or maybe he was rolling around out there in the bullpen.
I mean, is he not? There's only been a strikeout and a walk so far, right? So there's no defending your position.
Could he maybe have been sitting in the dirt stretching in the dugout?
Maybe.
I don't know. My guess is you see him wiping his hands so much how humid it is. Yeah, wipes his hand there and the dirt accumulates sometimes on the chest of the jersey. Get some dirt there on the rosin bag.
But still with the sleeves, right? The idea of it's hot, but and that will also help prevent the sweat, kind of what you were talking about, and not dripping down your hands as much.
Mateo cannot get to it. Heading for third for Mean. He'll be in there easily. So runners at the corners.
Let's a good look at the slider grip. It's a very unusual grip. Almost looked like it had a kind of a knuckle curveball type of grip to it from Ian Hamilton. That one, though, staying up in the zone that Dubar is able to get this base hit against.
Blaze Jordan brought in a run back in the 6th. Bart keeps that in front. Runners stay put. With Blaze Jordan and Austin Riley being from the same high school, well, who had more home runs? Austin Riley still has a school record with 28. Although Riley played another year. He played 4 years. Blaze Jordan just 3 in high school and hit 19. He reclassified as a 17-year-old because it was that weird. At the COVID 2020 season, did Blaze Jordan before being drafted in that 20 class.
So he reclassified going forward?
Yeah, so he was going to be a 21 draftee. He reclassified to 20 with all the COVID stuff going on and not knowing how everything was going to play out. He ended up being taken in the 3rd round that year by the Red Sox.
Some new rules in NCAA look like they're going to be passed in the 5 years to get 5 years of playing in, kind of getting rid of red shirts and other things, which will slow down people that were doing that the other way, which was trying to reclassify backwards.
Backwards, yeah, to get an advantage. He hits it pretty well, but it's brought in by Harris. Still 5-2 on to the bottom of the 8th. As we start the bottom of the 8th, we show you our Car Shield defensive play of the game. Look at the Braves, 8th inning or later, 1st in homers, 8th in runs, so they're going to need some of that magic here tonight.
And those have been really fun games, right? We've seen the Braves scoring late, especially when coming from behind, and it feels like it's been a while since we have seen one of those, and no time better than the present.
Couple of walks for Michael Harrison, a ground out tonight.
Saw some conversation, kind of get every angle, of course, with Braves country, and getting a little frustrated and seeing what's going on with the team lately. And you'll hear things like, well, is it time for a team meeting? And remember what Tyler Kinley had said about a month or so ago in an interview, which I just found fascinating with Walt, as Michael goes down on strikes here, that he called the meeting when they were playing really well. And it's almost like he knew this was not going to last. We're not going to win 120 games this year. He didn't say any of that kind of stuff, but just to give guys that reminder when things were going well. And I think the opposite could be true. You got to really pick your spots, and I don't think necessarily, we don't know, whatever goes on in the clubhouse goes on in the clubhouse. But just because the team is playing bad doesn't mean necessarily a meeting is in order unless you see something that needs to be addressed. Right? You see a lack of effort. You see a lack of preparation, which I don't think we see here. What we're seeing right now is just kind of a lack of results, and everybody is equally frustrated. And it's always an interesting conversation, I think, that fans are curious about when it comes to when are those moments and when do you need to have them.
Seeing how these players have responded to Walt Weiss and just getting to know Walt over the past few years, he obviously has been around the game a long time. He seems to have a tremendous feel for that kind of thing.
Yeah, he understands failure too, which is so important. And I'm not saying every manager has to have played, but he knows how hard this game is. And it was such a unique thing to hear that story from Kinley. It's like, that's pretty cool. I think all my years, I don't know if I've ever had a team meeting to say, hey, you guys are doing great.
But be careful, because when times are lean.
Yep, it's coming.
Yeah.
It's pretty much a guarantee.
And Dubon with a single to left.
Change up here from Romero, and probably below the zone, definitely below the zone. And again, we've seen a couple of good at bats where the Braves have been good on the off speed and staying back. Remember when we were in San Francisco and that start that we saw from Robbie Ray, it's a lot of changeups and a lot of outs on that changeup, and there seems to have been somewhat of an adjustment here tonight.
Second at bat here for Yastrzemski since replacing Eli White in the 6th inning. Braves do have Raisel Iglesias tossing in front of the mound right now. Kinley there in the background with a hoodie on. Probably going to drop about 18 pounds.
I mean, he's sweating a little bit. It's not like that hoodie's keeping him cool.
having to go a long way for me, and he's not going to even bother to throw it. It'll be an infield single. That'll bring the tying run to the plate.
You take him any way that you can get him, and this is against the sweeper off the end of the bat for Mike Yastrzemski. Remember, he almost had an infield hit in his first at bat when he pinch hit, and perhaps that means that Romero now will be out of this game.
Yeah, Ryan Fernandez, who was just activated today from the 15-day injured list, is the one that is in the bullpen, and now he's into this ball game at a big spot here in the bottom of the 8th. Atlanta Braves baseball is brought to you by Alpha Insurance, your winning lineup for auto, home, life, and health. And by the Wells Fargo Active Cash Credit Card. Earn unlimited 2% cash rewards on purchases. Terms apply. Braves trying to rally in the 8th. So Ryan Stanek went on the paternity list today. Now the corresponding move coming off the IL, this guy Ryan Fernandez, but he hasn't pitched since June 5th.
No, it's been some time in the minor leagues for him as well, and this is a guy a couple of years ago had a huge season. So far you can see here 17 strikeouts to his 5 walks in 7 games. Incredibly impressive. That is a 40% strikeout rate.
He's mostly in those 7 games pitched in low leverage situations, but protecting a 3-run lead here. 0-1 pitch coming to Riley. And that gets away. Both runners advance.
Now that's big. You've got to find a way to get in one, and quite honestly, in this point in the game in the 8th inning, 2 of these runs if you can. That slider ends up bouncing away from Herrera and kicking far enough right where everybody can advance easily.
See, Rowdy Tellez is now in the on-deck circle, but for now all eyes on Riley. They're going to say he went, pitched in the dirt, not far enough away to score the run.
Mentioned the good strikeouts, 13 of the 17 on the slider. That is the swing and miss pitch, and a couple there that have been outside of the strike zone. Fastball is something you have to respect. It sits at 95.
Now a 2-2. And Riley strikes out. 95. It is the heater from Fernandez.
It goes right at Austin Riley. You could see him centered behind that baseball well. The fastball stays true and straight.
And Rowdy Tellez will hit here for Joey Bart. Braves do have 2, but Tellez not going to use 1. See, he's still discussing it with Roberto Ortiz as the tarp's off section begins to grow here at Truist Park.
Okay, icing his shoulder.
What's
it looked like he had like a big ice pack on his left shoulder. Let's get back from a game.
0-2. CJ has talked about it, but Rowdy's been used in this spot a lot in his career and has produced, but now he's down 0 balls and 2 strikes. did not go.
And what you got there was the fake from Herrera. You can almost see it coming. He's overdoing it where he wiped the ground with his hand. He wants Rowdy Tellez to hear that and then goes with the high target because they were going elevated fastball.
It bounces away, and this one's going to score a run. That went 2/3 of the way down the first baseline. It's 5-3.
Mauricio Dubon was doing a really nice job of getting a solid secondary. He didn't need it here because this ball bounced as far as it did. My goodness, that almost caught some grass. But he is probably, what, a third of the way, if not more, down the line by the time that pitch was thrown.
Diaz down at third. 2-2 pitch coming. Boy, I mean, he just keeps flirting with disaster. Herrera probably cannot wait to get back to the dugout. Three balls, 2 strikes, and Tellez lifts it foul. Since coming into the league in 2018, Rowdy Tellez has the most pinch hit homers in Major League Baseball with 9 of them. You'd love that, but certainly you'd take a single here or a walk.
If you think about it, I don't think there was a single pitch in that 7-pitch at bat that was actually in the strike zone. Remember, the first one was borderline. He didn't challenge it. He chased the changeup out of the zone. He did have the one foul ball. Maybe it was the one pitch that was in the zone out of the 7.
Kim is going to pinch run. Then he's going to play shortstop in the next half inning because Mateo is being pinch hit for, and Dom Smith is going to be the batter. Pitching coach Dusty Blake to the mound.
Conversation right now as far as what Antoine Richardson has seen from Ryan Fernandez, because it's a big deal if you can get Ha-Seong Kim in a scoring position. I don't think they're necessarily going to take the chance at stealing, but remember, Herrera has not thrown a potential base stealer out all season long, so they may be aggressive. We'll see.
Dom Smith, great versus the righties, so he's called into action here. Change up for a strike. Braves struck first with a run in the 3rd, then that big 4-run 4th for the Cardinals. That's the difference in the game right now, but the Braves inching closer. Another one in the dirt. This time no advancement.
And the advantage you get too is you take a look at the defensive alignment there with Fermin, is that he is playing way off the line with Dom Smith batting. Right, they're trying to get themselves in the best defensive position they can, which means for Yaz, he can afford to push on his lead, and then any ball in the dirt that skips away, he's got a much better chance at scoring.
Two balls, 1 strike. St. Louis, as of late, struggling a bit like Atlanta. They've lost 7 of 10. Both teams with the off day yesterday, trying to get back on the winning side of things here. Nowhere near. 3-1. Drake Baldwin next.
And I don't think anybody was warming in the Cardinals bullpen, but all of a sudden now it's like an alarm went off down there. They are scrambling. It's
like Swanson getting ready to throw. He walked him. And Fernandez in his first game back off the injured list, not very sharp. And the Braves bringing Baldwin to the plate here with the bases loaded in a 2-run game. He just snapped out of an 0 for 36 slump with a single in the 7th. Big swing, 1-1.
We haven't tracked this in so long, but I don't think the Cardinals have any mound visits left because we've seen 2 from the catcher. I'm pretty sure we've seen 2 from their pitching coach as well. Just hasn't really been a factor. If there was ever a time, this would be the time, but I don't think they can do it.
Man. Herrera has just had to block ball after ball back there. He didn't know where that one was, but it only went a couple feet out in front of home plate. Two balls, 1 strike. That missed.
So I know that there's a comfort level for base runners, but Yaz can go even further down the line. And that is the kind of thing that could also get in the head of a pitcher like Fernandez, who's already probably thinking about a million things at a time right now. He can get down to that second H in Harris, and he is still in a position to beat Fermin back to third base if he had to.
3 balls and 2 strikes. The slider is fouled away into Wiley's well.
Oh, what a great name. We need a plaque for Wiley's well.
This is the pitch of the game right here. Fouled again. Near Wiley's well. Boy, the drama continues to build.
That's a good sign. Now you want to see Drake Baldwin finish it, right? Some foul balls here. Base hit in his last at bat. Now's the moment.
But a ground ball at the second baseman, Weatherholt, and the game remains at 5-3 through 8 innings. So, as we mentioned, Kim will stay in it short with Bart being pinch hit for. Now you've got Drake Baldwin behind the plate. And on the mound, despite the Braves being down here 5-3, CJ, Raisel Iglesias.
So we haven't seen this a lot. Now Iggy has only thrown once in the last 7 days, and it was only 10 pitches in that game that he had back on the 26th when we were in San Francisco, that 3-1 game that the Braves won. So an opportunity to throw your best arm to keep this game where it is, and one that you're trying to keep sharp. Even though the Braves right now will have 7 straight here, actually could be, and we don't even have Monday off. We're going to run here right now.
Yeah, 13 straight.
Yeah.
Before the All-Star break for Atlanta, the 3 here against St. Louis, 4 against the Mets, and 3 at Pittsburgh, and 3 at St. Louis before the Midsummer Classic. This is Nathan Church, who had the 3-run homer to the chop house in the 4th inning.
That's been the difference in this game, and kind of an oddity, and one that you would never expect with Martin Perez left on left. He was able to get a hold of a changeup with 2 outs in that 4th inning and hit a 3-run homer.
Iglesias beats him up top with 95 miles per hour.
Quick work here from Raisel Iglesias, which we have grown accustomed to seeing and a good four-seamer at 95, just above the strike zone.
By the way, the Cardinals are not feeling bad about the Braves playing 13 straight into the All-Star break. They have to play 14 over the next 13 days. They got a 5-game series with Milwaukee, one of those a doubleheader for makeup of a rainout. So both of these teams, it's going to be a busy stretch before the Midsummer Classic.
Something you don't see too often, the manager on the iPad. Oh, that was a strike.
Yeah, it looked like it was.
Yep.
Braves do have both challenges left. Matt Olson there, soft liner, 2 down. A message right here from Zaxby's.
Zaxby's Giant Wraps, Chicken Bacon Ranch, Asian Sensation, and Buffalo Blue. Who's got the sauce? Zaxby's.
All right, so if Iggy ends up striking out Herrera on 3 pitches, he will have been robbed of his immaculate inning.
Well, okay. Fouled away, 0-1. He also is sitting on 899 career strikeouts. He's not going to get number 900. But he will get a 1-2-3 inning. And 2-3-4 coming up for Atlanta in the bottom of the 9th, starting with Ozzie Albies. And Riley O'Brien, first year as a closer, 20 saves, 5th in baseball, and he will look for a 21st.
ERA near 4 for him. Respectable strikeout rate, but not a big number. 2 home runs allowed. He is a big-time ground ball pitcher, 55% ground ball rate, and it's because he leads with his 2-seam fastball. It's a good 2-seam fastball that sits at 98 miles an hour. The sweeper is the first go-to secondary pitch for Riley O'Brien. He has had his struggles, though, against lefties. They have been much better against him than right-handed hitters.
And it's Ozzie from that left side in a 2-run game here in the bottom of the 9th. Up top, 99, 1-2. Routine to Weatherholt, and the second baseman grounds out to the second baseman, 1 away. Braves have had more base runners than the Cardinals tonight. Talked about the stretch there where they had 5 straight innings getting the leadoff man on, but in some critical spots had not been able to get that clutch hit. And down 5-3 and down to their final 2 outs here. Matt Olson takes it outside 1-0. Olson drills it. Going over and not getting there, Church. And Olson will cruise into second with a double.
That was the 2-seam fastball, but this is the fastball that caught a lot of the plate. Matt Olson, I mentioned, been pitched pretty tough here tonight, but finally gets a pitch that he can handle and do some damage on. And the elevated sinker, the one that sits down the middle, is not the one that generates those ground balls. And that one smoked at 108 here for Matt Olson.
First extra base hit of the night for the Atlanta Braves after 5 singles. And now here's Harris. taking a strike. Buried into the ground. Wynn hurries and gets Harris. 2 outs, Olsen to third.
That high hop, unfortunately, just didn't give Michael enough time to get down the line. There is the two-seam fastball when it's down, and it is heavy. But a pretty easy hop there for Mason Wynn to handle.
Braves' final hope is Mauricio Dubon. A walk and a single tonight. A grounder to win. This should do it. And it does. The Cardinals win the opener of this series 5-3. And a tough June is now in the rear view mirror for the Atlanta Braves.
Second lowest winning percentage in the month of June for the Braves, going all the way back to 1990. It was a month that is worth forgetting about. You flip the calendar tomorrow and you get things going right, and it is about time. Ronaldo Lopez is going to get that opportunity to lead the Braves. The big part, though, is going to be getting this offense going.
5-3 is the final. The Cardinals get the victory in game 1 of the series. Post game coming up with Nick and Peter from the Battery. Stay tuned for that. We will rejoin you tomorrow for game 2 between the Cards and the Bravos. For Wiley Ballard, for CJ Nikowski, and the rest of our great crew, I'm Brandon Gaudin signing off and saying so long, everybody.